Well, welcome everybody to Ignite Humanity Live. I'm so happy to have you here. I'm your host, JB Owen, and it's exciting because, well, we're igniting humanity around the planet, but today we are live in Los Angeles. So excited to be here because I've asked some of my guests and friends to come here to share how they are igniting humanity in person. Yes, we want to hear from them directly on how they are igniting humanity because the whole precedent of the show is they are going to help ignite you. And when you feel ignited, you ignite someone else, and that definitely is going to ignite humanity. All kinds of things are happening on the planet now more than ever before. We're exposed to different things, and in that way, it is our responsibility to do things that improve one another's lives all over the planet. We are connected like never before through communications and social media and travel. And that means that we are reliant and connected and even leaning on other countries and other cultures to help our country. I realize that we're getting food from other parts of the world. We're getting communications. We're getting fuel and fossils and systems and everything. We are interconnected in ways we've never been before. And that means we have to care about people from around the world, that they too are feeling ignited in their lives. And one of the ways that we do that is through talking about Ignite moments. Now, each and every one of us has an Ignite moment, and that moment in our life helped define us and change us and move us in a new direction. And those stories, those Ignite moments, they are powerful. And people have learned lessons and wisdom and blessings, and we talk about those on the show. We want you to feel inspired because, well, if my guest can do it, that means you can do it. And if you feel yourself empowered, well, you're going to go out and empower somebody else. Well, if you want to watch a recording of this episode, or any of the other episodes that we're doing, if you go to our website, ignitehumanity.life/watch, you can see everything that we're up to, and it's completely free for you. I want to make igniting humanity accessible, and so that every single person on the planet can find ways for them to ignite their lives and the lives of someone else. In fact, it's a ripple effect. When you ignite yourself, you give yourself the power to help someone else. It's not being helpless, it's being helpful. And when you help somebody else, you give them the power to help someone else. And see how that works? We ignite humanity as we move on and on and on. Well, let's jump into it because we don't want to waste any time. We've got so much to discuss. I want to welcome my guest to the show, Adam Mendler. Adam, tell me all about you.
I don't know what I could say at this point. I feel so ignited already. I'm fired up. This is the ignition I needed.
Right?
I didn't know I needed ignition today, but I have it. Thank you.
And I love that word. I use ignition, I use spark, I use rocket fuel, like really getting people fired up.
This is the rocket fuel that I need, that you need, that everyone needs. The word that I love is passion. Mm-hmm. It's all about having passion. I love people who are passionate. If you're not passionate, what are you? We only have one life to live, and it's all about spending your time doing something that you love, doing something that you're great at, and doing something that allows you to make a positive impact in the lives of others. If you can do all three of those things, that's it. You found it. You're living life. Live life with passion.
Well, let's chat about that because a lot of people, and we know some people are sitting at home and they're watching the show and they're feeling maybe unable, they're feeling a sense of fear. Maybe they're feeling like there's things have kept them down. How does somebody spark that passion?
Great question. And JB, firstly, thank you for having me on. It's an honor to be with you. It's an honor to be with your audience. So excited to be here.
Thank you.
I've done interviews with more than 500 of the most successful leaders in America. And that's a question that I've asked. How do you discover what you're passionate about?
Right.
For some of us, it's easy. You wake up, you get out of bed, and you just know it clicks. For other people, it takes a little bit longer. And the reality is that there's no one simple way, and something that I know you and I feel very similar about is it often takes baby steps.
It's true.
I did an interview with a guy by the name of Dave Long. Dave is the founder and CEO of Orange Theory Fitness. His entire business is built around getting people out of their comfort zones. I asked Dave, how do you get people to push your comfort zone? How do you get out of your comfort zone? And the biggest takeaway is most people think that when you're taking on something new, whether it's discovering what you want to do with your life, with your career, whatever it is, you've got to go all in. You've got to dive into the deep end. the reality is the shallow end is there for a reason.
Right.
That's how we do our best work. That's how we take on new things, starting in the shallow end, one step at a time, the baby steps.
I'm really into that. I call them micro movements or micro goals. You know, David Phelps talks about micro goals, how you have to actually, you can't leapfrog from one thing to the other because you'll trip and fall. You'll get snagged.
Yeah.
If you do those little micro movements, you actually grow the muscle, you learn the skill, you sort of scrape your knees off and gain from what you learned in the micro movements. You've been very successful. I didn't really talk about at the top of the show. Tell us a little bit about your success, a little micro movements to get to where you are.
Thank you. I appreciate it. A lot of micro movements, a lot of small steps. Rome wasn't built in a day. It sounds cliche, but it's so true in terms of my own personal journey and in terms of the journeys of anyone who has enjoyed any level of success. There is no linear path. I started off doing what so many people do. I did the traditional corporate path, went to good schools, did well in school, got prestigious jobs. When I was in my late 20s, now the term that everyone is using is the Great Resignation. It wasn't around back then.
Right.
But I quit my career, I quit my job and pivoted and became an entrepreneur, started a few different businesses with my brother. And when you're an entrepreneur, every day is a step and a step and a step. And sometimes you're taking a step forward, sometimes you're taking a step backwards, but you always have to keep moving and keep flowing. And along the way, I started doing some writing, and that writing led me to create an interview series. And the interview series led me to create 30-minute mentors. And all in all, I've done all this interview work with hundreds of America's top leaders. And that's what helped me get into what I'm ultimately doing now, where I'm speaking to all these different audiences about how to become a more successful leader. Bottom line, it's one step. And that step that you take, not going to be a jump. Maybe one day it's a jump. Maybe one day you feel like
when you have the muscle, right?
I've had an amazing day. I've accomplished so much. But other days you say, what did I really get done? And it's so much of it is just not beating yourself up, but just understanding that if you're focused on something that is important to you, that's meaningful to you, you'll do it. You'll make it happen. Just go for it. My message to anyone listening, my message to anyone watching, believe in yourself. If you're really passionate, going back to the word passion, if you're really passionate about life, if you're really passionate about your goals, you'll make it happen. There are going to be obstacles along the way, but you'll figure it out. Just don't allow the setbacks to be fatal. There is no such thing as a fatal setback if you have the right mindset.
Yeah. So Adam is interviewing leaders and industry experts and titans around the globe who are in your 30-minute mentor, correct?
That's right.
Yeah. And so you get to be around a lot of people and you get to ask them, what is the thing that helped them be passionate? What was the thing that pushed them forward? I know that some of our listeners are maybe like, you know what, I have a passion for fishing. I have a passion for hockey. I have a passion for babysitting. I have a passion for yoga. How does somebody take that passion and turn it into a purpose?
Ooh, I love that question. That's the $1 million question. And you already answered it. It starts with baby steps. One really important thing that everyone can do and should do is find a great mentor. Find someone who can help you get there. And I'm going to break it down even more easily.
Yes, please.
I coined a term called mini mentors. A mentor is someone who you could get together with once a week, once a month. Maybe you go out to lunch, maybe you go out to coffee. They're on speed dial. A mini mentor could be someone who you only talk to once. Maybe you talk to them once a year, once every 10 years. But that one interaction could be a game changer. Could completely change your perspective on life, could completely change the way that you view your business, the way you view your career. And as you're trying to figure out how to ignite that idea, how to take that passion and turn it into a real business, you want to surround yourself with people who have been there, who have done that, who can help you take that next step up. And there's nothing that you can do that's more important than putting yourself out there, asking. Don't be afraid. If you ask someone, there are three possible outcomes. One outcome is they don't respond.
Right?
Another outcome is they say no. The third outcome is they say yes. Now, if you don't ask, there's only one possible outcome, and that's no.
Exactly.
So put yourself out there. Ask. Don't be afraid.
And folks, there are so many mentors, mini mentors. I love that term, mini mentors in your kids. I mean, I don't know about you, but I have kids and they sometimes say things to me that I think is so brilliant. It's so real. It's so genuine. It's so heartfelt. And then of course you have your parents, your spouses, your family. They love you. There's many mentors in your workplace. There's a lot of people around you that can give you that one little that needle mover, that one little thing that actually starts moving the needle. And we know if a boat leaves New York headed for England 1 degree off course, it ends up in Africa. And so those little micro movements actually over time have a big impact. So take a mini micro movement and get the best out of it, get the benefits out of it.
100%. I've done hundreds and hundreds of these interviews. And I go back and I'll listen to an interview and it could be one moment.
Yeah.
It could be one throwaway line.
Right.
And that line is invaluable. That line totally shifts my perspective. And I hear from listeners. And think about how many interviews you've done. When you're talking to people, and this is a really important point, everyone has a different way of learning and learning best. Some people can learn best by picking up a thick stack of textbooks. Some people can learn best by watching YouTube videos, watching this great show, listening to podcasts. I learn best by talking to people. I learn best by finding people who know more than I do, who know as much as possible about a particular topic, and trying to pick their brains.
Right.
And maybe not every single word that comes out of their mouth is going to be magic. In some cases, every single word that comes out of their mouth is magic. We can think of people who we know where that is the case.
Yeah, exactly.
But there will be that one moment where I had a phone call yesterday and it was like, thank you. That one line.
Change the trajectory.
Totally.
So I call those ignite moments. And we have mini ignite moments. So I use the word term mini ignite moments, right? Because we have big ignite moments that change us. We lose a job, we go bankrupt, we are cheated on, we have some kind of big conflict in our lives. But it's actually sort of the springboard towards something big, monumental change. But we also have mini ignite moments, something your child says to you, or you're driving down the street and you see an interaction, or you hear something on the radio, and you kind of have that aha, wow, actually you start putting the pieces together. And I think ignite moments are so powerful because we have a lot of content in our minds. We get new content from outside sources. And when we put that together to make a third, not assumption, but a third idea or a third impression, like I learned this, I knew this, now I have a new idea, that ignition really starts people moving forward. And it can happen every day.
JB, I really want to build on...
Add to that, please.
No, I want to build on a point you made. And again, you just said one little thing in there which stood out to me, which is you mentioned the aha moment. And I've asked so many of the most successful entrepreneurs in America about that aha moment that they've had. What was your aha moment? And when I was in college, I studied entrepreneurship. When I was in business school, I studied entrepreneurship. And they teach you that entrepreneurs have this aha moment where it comes down to them. And this is where that $1 billion idea just magically sprouts in their brain. And what I've heard from so many entrepreneurs is there was no aha moment. It was a process. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of small steps that ultimately got me to this place. It wasn't magic. It wasn't this miraculous thing that just transpired. There was no pixie dust. It was a lot of little things that added up to the ultimate success.
Right, and it's never going to happen if you're sitting at home, curtains closed, lights off, not doing anything. You have to go out and try it. I'm sure many of the mentors that you've listened to and interviewed on your podcast, they've told me I had to do it. And I often say you have to be it to become it. You had to take action, because a lot of people are assimilating data and they're watching things, they're listening to things, they're reading things, but they're not actually implementing any action. And a lot of people are afraid of like, well, what if I fail? Or what if it doesn't miraculously appear? But going back to you, this mini incremental, mini ignite moments, mini mentors, like any little action you take moves things forward. No action results in nothing. A little bit of action, a little bit of results, a little bit more, a little bit more.
I love it. I did an interview.
Playing off of your idea.
I did an interview with a guy by the name of Evan Goldberg. Evan is the founder of a company called NetSuite. Not sure if any of your viewers use NetSuite. I'm not a paid spokesman for NetSuite, so it has nothing to do with that. Evan founded a company that he sold for $9.3 billion. Wow. I think we'd all be happy with $9.3 billion. I asked Evan, what is your single best tip for every entrepreneur? What did he say? Get started. When you get started, you're 50% there. I did an interview with a guy by the name of Mike Evans. Mike is the founder of Grubhub. You guys have probably used Grubhub before.
Yeah.
I asked Mike, what can anyone do to become more successful personally and professionally? He said, get started. If you get started, you're 51% there. So you could argue, are you 50% there? Are you 51% there? But to your point, all too often we think about how do we do things perfectly. And perfect is the enemy of the good. And it's truly about taking that first step, getting started, just putting yourself out there, just doing it. There's nothing more powerful than just getting out there.
It's true. And you're super successful with your podcast and in business. And so what I want to do is let's shift it a little bit. How do we take that get started and change what's happening with humanity? Because we've got the business world, we've got the monetization, there's this money side over here. And what we really want to talk about on the show is that personal piece, that emotional piece, that connected piece. What's your take on how we can start igniting one another?
I love that question. And I'm going to throw a few things at you.
Yes.
First and foremost, there's a term that we hear a lot is the golden rule. Treat others the way that you would like to be treated. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in the golden rule. I believe in the platinum rule, which is treat others the way that they would like to be treated. It really comes down to listening. Great leaders are great listeners. Don't walk into a room with any assumptions. Don't walk into a room thinking that you know what the other person is going to tell you. If you walk into a room, this is a line I've used, if you walk into the room and you're the smartest person in the room, you're either in the wrong room or you're the wrong person. The best leaders, the most successful people have incredible humility. And I think if everyone had a sense of humility, if everyone cared about one another, if everyone walked into every conversation intentional about listening, intentional about what can I learn from the person across from me, the world would be a very different place. Treat people with dignity, treat people with respect, treat people with kindness. It starts one relationship at a time. It starts one person at a time. It really starts with you.
Yeah. And Adam is really walking his talk, because we met earlier today and it was a bit of a chaotic situation. There was a lot of people. I had to rush by, I hadn't seen you, And, it was interesting because it was a bit of a, and then when you came into the studio, we both just stopped and you really took the time to look at me and pause and, just dial into what's happening right here, which allowed me to just pause and dial into what's happening right here. And then we just had a great connect. Then we hugged and we hugged really tight. And it really was powerful because what you said is so true. We could have had the misconnect and then been in a disconnect with one another. And yet in just having that grace and that humility and that kindness for one another, we're having a great interview. We're going to be great friends after this. We just really took the time to not let any misunderstandings or any circumstances affect what is possible between the two of us. And if we have a mission together to ignite humanity, we need to put some of that aside and really listen to the person. So I want to say thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for being so kind and for being so warm. And if everyone, what I should have said, I don't know if we can cut and redo my answer, but what I should have said is if everyone could be more like JB, the world would be a much better place.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, today's theme is awakened. And so I love to awaken people with ideas. I love to give them something, that spark, that little ignition. Can you pour in an awaken idea to our listeners?
I don't know if I'm awake enough right now. This is nap time for me. If I wasn't with you, I'd
you're
probably
awakening when you're sleeping, I'm sure.
I love napping.
Yeah.
I love napping. So you want an idea on what anyone can do to...
Yeah, just something that, awaken is a big word, right? People feel like I'm not awakened enough, or my friend's more awakened than me, and I don't do X, Y, Z, so I'm not really awakened. But I like to really realize that awaken is, again, that little micro. It's just that little micro drop. But think about a glass of water. One tiny drop of blue food coloring turns the entire glass into blue. And so if there was one tiny little drop of an awakening that we could plant into the minds of those who are listening and admiring you, what would you love to awaken in them?
I would challenge everyone who's watching this to ask yourself, what is your definition of success? What does success mean to you? And there's no right answer. Success can mean something very different to you than what it means to me, than what it means to you. But have a definition. So much of it comes down to having purpose, setting a goal, having something that matters to you.
Passion.
Whatever your definition of success is, go for it. Is your definition of success to make the most money? Is your definition of success to be the best friend, to be the best parent, to be the best daughter, to be the best spouse, to be the best community member, to be the best leader? Whatever it is, define it. And when you have a clear goal, and when you clearly understand what it is you're going for, that's going to make things you're going to be so much more likely to get there. My definition of success, the way that I try to succeed every day, is by trying to make a positive impact in the lives of others. If I can make a positive impact in some way, whether it's by reaching someone through this show, whether it's just by being kind to someone, I've won. Mm-hmm. If I haven't, then I haven't won. And that's how I try to measure success. But that doesn't have to be your definition of success. The most important thing is to just be present, be there, and be intentional.
We have a really similar message because I always use the word currency of success just to play a little bit on the fact that people think money is success. And I always say, what's your currency of success? Because you're right. When I started my first business when I was 9, I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, but women in business for a long time, I know it's hard to believe, but 20, 30 years ago, women in business were following what men were doing in business, and we were defining success that way. And as I've got older, I realized, success may be owning an avocado farm in Costa Rica. Success may be having a kite company that, takes people up to the mountain, whatever. Your currency of success is not always about that currency. And you're right, defining your currency of success is really your North Star.
It all starts there.
Yeah.
It all starts there. Step one is have a clear definition of success. Clearly define what matters to you and why. And then from there, go for it. Live your life with intention. Live your life with purpose. Live your life with awakening.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, before we wrap up, 2 things. How can people find you and learn more about what you're up to?
I try to make it really easy. It's just my name, Adam Mendler. So you can find me at adammendler.com. You can go to my website, www.adammendler.com. I'm on social media at Adam Mendler. My podcast, 30-Minute Mentors, all spelled out, the word 30-Minute Mentors, available on every podcasting app. And before we go, I just want to thank you again for being present with me, being so kind, being so generous with your time, asking such great questions. Such a fun conversation. And thank you for everyone who's watched this. This has been such a fun experience.
Well, let's make it one more thing of fun. I like to create a dictionary of Ignite words, like Ignite-a-rama, Ignite-a-fi, Ignite. If you were going to create an Ignite word and put it in our dictionary, what comes to mind?
Oh my God. It has to start with Ignite?
It has to have some kind of Ignite in it, like Super Ignite or Ignite, Ignite-a-fied or
Wow.
Whamma Jamma Ignite
Oh my God.
How about Pro Ignite or Ignite Mini Ignite Mentor? That might be kind of fun. I know, I stumped you.
Wow, I'm totally stumped.
Right.
I'm totally stumped.
But you and I were talking when you sat down. You like the word Ignite.
I love the word Ignite.
And then we were talking about like spark and ignition. Is there another word that sort of really gets you fired up? Well, you said passion.
I'll level with you, JB. I tell this to audiences I speak to. Most people in life are bad at most things. We're all good at a few things. We all have that one thing that we're great at, that one thing that makes us special, that makes us unique. Clearly coming up with words that have Ignite in it, that's among the many, many things in life that I'm bad at. I have so many family members. I have an aunt and an uncle. They're siblings. They're my mom's siblings who, if you ask this question to, they would spend the next 5 hours literally like
Ignite
rolling.
Jam, Ignite Life, Ignite Girl. Okay.
This is
having
like,
your family on the show.
be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, amen.
But that's like right in their wheelhouse. For me, you could add that to the list of the thousands and thousands of things that, I really struggle with in life.
Well, you're definitely good at what you do, and we loved having you here. Thanks so much for being on the show.
I love being here. This was a real honor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, if you want to watch this show again and check out what Adam and I are up to, please go back to ignitehumanity.life/watch, and you can see the show and all the episodes that we're doing Monday to Friday live on our TV station. And of course, if you're driving or you're somewhere else, just check us out on Facebook. Go to Ignite Television, and you can see us on your phone and on your tablet and on your computer, and you can see us live and have some fun with us. Of course, if you got a great idea and you are igniting others or you're igniting humanity, please reach out to us at ignitehumanity.life/share and tell us what you're doing and fill out our type form, because you might just be a guest on the show. I love my fabulous, super amazing guests, but I also love talking to everyday people because they too have Ignite moments, they have great lessons, and they too are igniting others. So don't feel like you can't be on the show, because you can be on the show. I would love to hear from you. Well, we've got all kinds of fun things coming up. We're in LA for a couple of days, so you're going to be hearing from many, many different people here. And what I want to share with you is go out and grab hold of the thing that you are most passionate about. Remember what Adam said, you get to be the leader in your own experience, and so do that. Have fun with that. Create those little micro movements and move ahead. Find a mentor, and of course, check out his show. Well, we love having you here. Big hugs and kisses. We'll see you tomorrow.
Now, more than ever, we need to come together to connect with one another. We need to feel the truth in who we are and let go of everything that's happened in the past. We need to empower every person on the planet and awaken hearts, enliven souls, come together, laugh, play, rejoice, connect, create, and love. It's time to ignite humanity. We want you to be a part of something that will impact the future for everyone. We want you to tell your story, share your Ignite moment, show people who you truly are. Be a part of igniting humanity and making a difference in the world and all of our futures.